Closing May 11th, 2021. Hey, Davey.
Hey, Bear, how are you doing?
Not too bad, buddy. What's happening?
Oh, another day.
Nice to be back in the seat again doing this stupid podcast.
It feels a little nicer than the last time. We have a nice desk.
I know, eh? Pretty fancy desk. Did you make that?
I did. I carved it.
With all those fancy snap-on tools?
I did. Yeah.
Nice.
You can do anything with those tools, Barry.
I guess you can. Yeah. I don't know if they're worth it.
Ooh. They are. They are.
So everybody, Davey and I have had a little bit of a change. It's been a while since we've done a show and never done it live before, but here we are, and happy to be back.
Super happy to be back.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while and trying to figure out scheduling and whatnot in order to be able to do it, and we just decided finally, you know what, let's just do it.
Yeah.
So here we are.
There's no better time than now, Barry.
No doubt, and we could share one of the new little differences of the show nowadays.
You can see us.
And we have moved. Well, I have moved. I have moved all the way out to Nova Scotia and left Davey alone back in British Columbia. And thankfully, through modern technology, we can look like we're side by each. Hi, buddy. You didn't look at me. Look at me. I'm over there. No wrong with that. What? Hey, there you go.
I smell you.
I don't think that was me.
Oh.
So where to begin, Davey?
I don't know. I think we should maybe talk about why we disappeared, Barry.
All right. Why did we disappear, Dave?
Magic, mostly.
Magic, mostly. Life got busy, change of careers for you and me, COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, we can blame COVID for this. Why not?
What was that?
We can blame COVID.
Yeah. No, it definitely made an impact. It prolonged us coming back for sure.
Yeah. No, that's
an all in Nova Scotia, so that kind of made it harder too.
And that did make it more difficult. That's absolutely.
That happened a week ago.
We haven't been on for over a year. I've only been here for about a month and a half, so I don't know.
It's kind of been almost 3 years, hey?
Yeah, it has been. I was trying to play it down though a little bit. Thanks.
Oh. Well, I changed careers. I mean, I think you guys all know that I was a mechanic. And
and a damn good mechanic.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you. I was all right. Anyways, so I stopped wrenching, and it just happened to be our podcast studio was in the shop that I worked at. So we kind of lost the podcast studio, and started a new job. So it was a little crazy. Which now I am a Snap-on tool franchisee. Great life. Which, and Barry, I mean, you did a complete flip too.
I did a complete flip too. Yes, I ended up moving down to Langley from Whistler / Squamish. I was working in Squamish when COVID came along. There was really no work. My work was kind of seasonal at best, and it just kind of dried up a little bit. I moved down to Langley, and I was down there for a while with the missus and many different life things and whatnot, made the decision to get out of Dodge while we could, sort of thing. And luckily you did when we could, because you can't come into Nova Scotia right now. Apparently they got that all locked down because we had like 100 cases the other day or something, which is it's crazy. But it's been good. Transferred out. I was been working for Worth Canada, and so a little bit of Snap-on competition in a roundabout kind of way. We do have some tools.
It's the same things but different things, right?
Same things but different. Yeah. A little cheaper.
Yeah. On some things.
We'll have to compare prices on stuff too at some point.
We'll get the inside scoop for everybody.
Try and do some demos. Snap-on versus Worth.
Ooh, we should.
That would be a good one.
Great.
Huh?
Yeah, for sure. That'd be great. Yeah.
We'll try out. Let's see, what do I got lying around? Brake clean. We'll try the Worth brake clean out against the Snap-on brake clean.
I don't think we do break Clean Bear. You got
Oh,
us.
okay. Well, we could do it against like the HHS lube.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't. It's Snap-on Tools, Barry,
Oh,
not
yeah.
Snap-on Lube.
Okay. Okay. Whoops, my bad. Maybe some nuts and
I mean,
bolts.
you guys sell. Does Worth have their actual? They have their own branded tools. Like they make their own tools, right?
They do make their own tools. So Worth is so a little background on Worth. They are the second largest privately owned company in the world. It's based
Wow.
out of Germany, is where the headquarters is, and yeah, it's an absolute massive company. Professor Worth, we call him, is it's a pretty awesome, unique fella. Very interesting. He took the business over from his dad, which was just a screw company. He wholesaled
Huh?
screws, and he turned it into what it is now with 400 different companies in just about every country I can think of, at least the ones I can pronounce, anyways.
For
Um,
sure.
yeah, absolutely massive. We got a catalog of over 14,000 different items, and yeah, so
Wow.
it's pretty cool working for a really big company
I get you.
that treats you well, at least. There's a lot of big companies out there, but I'm a happy camper there. I know Worth is
Nice.
one of those things. You know, some guys hate it. Some guys just absolutely hate it.
Hey, I'm wearing a Snap. There's some guys that hate Snap-on. Like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
yeah.
no doubt. I don't think anybody really hates Snap-on. They
No,
hate
there's some haters out there
they
for
hate the
sure.
payments.
I guess you don't have to deal with that with Worth.
Not really. No, not really. Every company's got their quirks and stuff like that, but
That's just different
you know,
business models, right?
yep, yep. No, they make an exceptional product that's really unbeatable in the market. They're really smart with their marketing and stuff like that. So
Are you
yeah,
talking
it's
about
been
Snap-on?
with both Snap-on and Worth. I mean, there's a lot
Yeah,
of similarities between it. I mean, Professor Worth's number one thing is customer service. He
yeah,
believes that the price is not the most important factor, and
of
that
course he doesn't.
you can have a higher price, but it has to be a better product. But most of all, the customer service is the most important thing. And
Customer service is huge,
Snap-on does the same thing, right?
for
So
sure,
they're very similar in that regards. You
for
know,
sure.
they're very similar.
Well, that's one thing that we are going to introduce to the show is obviously now that I'm a Snap-on Tools franchisee and Barry sells Worth, we're going to be showing product, testing it, doing all kinds of stuff, give you guys a bit of a know-how.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. We'd like to. Absolutely. That's the plan. Go.
for
Maybe
sure.
not so much of a head-to-head as I was joking about, but you know,
We can go. I mean, it is, it's good knowledge, right? Like, and
yeah.
I sell tools. I don't just sell Snap-on tools. I sell tools.
Yep.
My job is to get mechanics the tools to make their job easier, right?
And yeah.
Whether that's the Snap-on tool or that's the Worth tool, or that's about it. Yeah.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. Absolutely. So for anybody that's watching out there live and on the beautiful, lovely interweebs, just so you know, if you're on either Facebook or on YouTube, you can chat with us, send us a message if you got any questions, auto related or otherwise, or just want to say hi, and just for a shout out or whatnot. And I did notice that on Facebook, on YouTube, you will see Facebook messages, oddly enough. But on Facebook, you won't see YouTube messages. So if you hear us talk about a message and you're looking at the chat saying, I don't see that one, that's why, because it's an imperfect system. We haven't got all the bugs figured out yet, but we're working on it.
We're learning as we go, Blair.
Yep. So
Well, you are.
what the show plan for those who haven't really watched before? The show plan. What would you say? What's the mission of the show? Well, why don't you go back, since this is all new and we've talked about everything over 34 episodes that we did? What would you say we're all about?
I think we just want to help educate. I think most of all, that's what we want to do.
And a shout out there, our first shout out of the show ever is the Mrs.'s sister there, Melanie McDonald, says, hey. Hey!
You're supposed to say hey back, Barry.
I did. I just did.
Okay.
I was a little slow.
Sorry.
Takes things a while to sink into my head, Davey.
It's all that air in
So
Nova
Mel,
Scotia.
Dave, Mel.
Hi, Mel.
So yeah, so what can you remember back how we got started with this?
Well, I mean, for me, I kept watching these like Road and Driver and the news with Zach Spencer on, road testing vehicles, and
Oh yeah,
they're
yeah.
talking about how a car understeers, or how much room, or the cargo room, and how the seats feel,
Just so you don't feel left
and
out.
thank you. Yeah, so I just think these guys weren't qualified to actually recommend cars to people. Like most people don't care if the car understeers; they just want it to start and go and get them to their work, drive
Yeah.
their families around, go on vacation. And so I thought that there's nobody better to tell you if a vehicle is going to be good is the mechanics that work on. And that's how we started. We started interviewing mechanics and
Yep.
asking their input on cars.
Yep.
And
Well, I
it was,
remember.
I learned,
I can go back even further than that. It was about 10 years ago, probably,
ooh,
right
way,
around
way back.
when we first met. And
Yeah.
you are the world's most honest mechanic. Not that there's not honest mechanics out there, but you were always a very honest and straightforward mechanic, and would always tell me stories of this guy had something done to his car wrong, or they fixed the wrong thing, or blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And I decided, with my web background, well, we could try and make a website out of this somehow. And we grew from the Mecon days, the
Yeah.
Mechanic Connection, right?
My trusted mechanic. Oh, so
Yeah,
many.
yeah. Quit getting screwed. All the slogans and stuff that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think mechanics are still the worst stereotype trade for ripping people off, right? Like I feel, and there's obviously in every trade there's good and bad, and I'd like to, we tried everything to bring acknowledgement to,
Yeah.
people's right as far as taking their cars to the mechanic shop,
Well, we even went and lobbied the government to try and have some
That's
some
right.
bills introduced, right?
Oof.
That didn't
Yeah.
get very
Wow.
far, but we tried.
We just didn't have enough money to pay the right guy to get us very far, Barry.
Yeah, exactly. That was about, if I'm not mistaken, quotes, wasn't it? That your quote had to be within a certain percentage or your final bill had to be within a certain percentage of your estimate.
Yeah,
It was
it was essentially a consumer act, right? But just dedicated to the automotive trade. There's consumer acts in a lot of states in America. There's consumer acts in different provinces in Canada. BC didn't have one. We lobbied to get one and got shut down pretty much.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought more so ever, we do have consumer act laws in BC, just not specific to automotive.
Yeah.
Which to me, I thought it was going to be an easy win. And all we were trying to do is bring knowledge to the consumer on their rights when they take their car to a shop.
Right.
So they can't be overcharged. They can't be charged without knowledge.
Or have other work done. I mean, I remember that happened to my sister with the head gasket that wasn't a head gasket. And I finally made it to the shop. I was in Buffalo or something when I got the call. It didn't make any sense. Her car wouldn't start, and it needed a boost, and she had it towed to a mechanic shop in Toronto, and then the mechanic said she had a blown head gasket. And I called them and I said, stop doing all the work. And they said, no problem. I got there it was a day later, and the engine was torn apart, and the guy gave me a head gasket that was a blown head gasket, and her Chrysler was a little Chrysler, a K car, one of those K car things, I think. And
2.5 liter.
He gave me a Toyota head gasket. It said Toyota right on it. Like, yeah, no.
I mean, there's definitely been some shady mechanics out there.
Yep.
But I do believe 99% of them are.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Just an odd situation that does happen, right? But
yeah, I mean, mean, you always get that thing where you bring the car for an oil change and all of a sudden you need a battery, an air filter, you know, and sometimes it's legit. Like sometimes it's legit,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the worst one too is the intermittent problems. You know, with
Yeah.
shops, that's always been my number one problem. I've been involved with shops in the past, and somebody brings a car in and says, my car only does this on every other Tuesday if there's clouds to the left of me and sun to the right of me. You know,
And I
like
hear it bing.
when you show up, well, the car's not doing it, so I've got no clue. You know,
Yeah.
how do you diagnose that one? It's pretty
And we're
tough.
getting a lot more of those nowadays with all the computers too, right?
I
Like
can imagine, yeah.
it's update on update on update now, right?
Technology. Yay, technology.
Well, cars are going to need to be plugged in pretty soon. Like, I mean, Teslas are. They have to be connected to Wi-Fi so they can update, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's
It's
a
kind of
different.
scary.
It's true.
Yeah. No, it is
Technology,
kind of
Barry.
scary. Even my Ford, I've got a company car, a Ford 500 or whatever it is, and it has that too. It connects to the internet and does updates, and it shares information with Ford about how my vehicle's running and stuff like that, which is pretty crazy. Now,
Well, your bosses can spy on you now.
well,
Like,
but
they
on
can tell
the
you
plus
speed
side
you're
of that
going.
one now, I have an awesome app on my phone where I can start the car from anywhere in the world, lock the doors, and do all sorts of fun stuff like that. And there's no charge. That one really surprised me. You know, usually all of that stuff. Well, that started with Chevy, right? Had it the OnStar, and that you pay the bill. They'll give it to you for a couple of months, and then you start paying the bill. But
Yeah.
it was quite spread. The Ford doesn't, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you locked your keys out. They would unlock the car for you.
Yeah. That's kind of cool stuff.
Find a restaurant for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, without a doubt, the most technology you ever own is going to be in the vehicle you drive nowadays.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, speak of
There'll be-
technology for a second, if I can. Technology's changing rapidly. I'm still not a huge electric car fan. We're not there yet. If you look at the whole facts of the mining of the cobalt and the lithium and all that stuff, it's unregulated pretty much worldwide. There's slave miners and stuff like that. So I get it. You want to feel good you're doing something for the environment. Put some kids to work. Fine. That's good and everything. But I'm not even getting on to electrics. I love with the performance cars now that they're using these electric motors to give you that boost, like in between shifts and stuff like that.
That
You
torque,
know?
yeah.
So it's been about 3 years since we did this show. When we were doing it then, there was a couple of cars that could bust 200 mile an hour. I remember specifically talking about the Koenigsegg CCXR that was down in Texas, got a speeding ticket for doing 242 miles per hour. And that was like the fastest. A guy got a speeding ticket for that in Texas, apparently. I wasn't there. I don't know. It's but that's what I heard. Cars are getting really fast, and if dare I say it, they're getting pretty sexy too. They're getting pretty damn sexy. So if I can share a screen here, like look at that thing. That thing is pretty amazing. That is the Hennessy Venom GT. And that thing there is it's pretty fast. I'm trying to remember where it is on the list.
270 mile an hour.
That's number 7 on the list of the fastest cars of 2021 at 270 miles an hour. So it only gets better. Of course, everybody loves the Bugatti Chiron. This is the special Super Sport 300 Plus, 300 designating it's 300 miles an hour, and it has gone 304 mile an hour. But I gotta say, do you not love that we're like down here in the little corner of the screen? It took me a long time to figure this one out. I'm pretty proud of myself.
I think we need to be inside that car driving it, Barry.
Bugatti, Volkswagen, you guys listening? We'd really like to get a test review on your car. Promise not to probably wreck it.
No.
No.
We won't.
No. Next up, Hennessy Venom F5. So the Venom GT wasn't enough. The F5 brought it up to 310 mile an hour. It's quite an
Pretty similar
improvement. I mean, like
looking,
40
man.
mile an hour improvement in speed and a change in models. I'm pretty impressed. But of course, Bugatti is now not happy with that one at all. So Bugatti comes with the Bolide. It sounds like a cow. I'm saying it wrong. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to call it the Bolide. It's all carbon fiber and everything all fancy, but it's pretty sexy looking car, and that's 310.
I'm not a
Back in the
big fan.
day, what's that?
I'm not a big fan of that.
I've never been a big fan of Bugatti, only because of Volkswagen's claims of it. Like, I remember when they made the Veyron, they were like, well, each one costs us $6 million, but we're only going to sell it for $1 million because it's the best. And then I love this next company who did it again. Koenigsegg came out with the CCXR that ran circles around that Veyron, and they're going, oh no, it costs us a lot, and that's why we sell it for $1 million. This guy,
Good
330 mile an hour. And then the SSC Tortura, and down near Pahrump, Nevada, they did a one-way run of 330 mile an hour with a tricky crosswind. So it is actually certified in the Guinness Book of World Record right now at 316 mile an hour, but its top speed was 331 mile an hour.
That's amazing, eh?
That's pretty crazy. The Koenigsegg Jesko, they're not built yet, or a demo's built, or an example, or whatever, a prototype is built. They're building very few of them, and they're already all sold out at $2.8 million a piece. And they're already sold out, not even built yet.
I just like to rent one for a weekend.
Good luck.
I wouldn't want to own that. Because I would scratch it. Like,
and who cares?
You
got $2.8 million. Who cares about a little scratch?
I would probably break that fin. I would lean up against it and be like, snap.
Yeah, probably. That's as long as you were on that side first, because otherwise I would have beat you to it. This thing.
That thing looks
Devil 16. So
it looks like a Batmobile.
It does look like the Batmobile. It looks like the Batmobile, but like a squashed front end. Somebody squished it right in. So this thing has a quad turbo V16 that puts out 5,000 horsepower.
I don't know. How do you get traction with 5,000 horsepower, Barry? That thing's a jet.
It would be fun to try. I would be more than happy to attempt to see if I could get traction.
So what are you using for a transmission? Like what kind of clutches? What kind of
the forces of God or magic. I think that can't be it.
Is it a two-seater or a one-seater?
It looks like a one-seater, but it's probably got two seats.
You
got to remember how wide those super exotic cars are. They're just massively wide. You can barely drive them around because they're so wide. That's the only reason I don't have one.
It kind of looks like it should fly, Barry.
It probably does. It probably has so much downforce that you could drive upside down in a tunnel. They've said that about a lot of cars, but I'm assuming.
You should ask them to let you try that.
Okay. Let's call the people at Devil 16.
Can we drive your car upside down?
I have no idea what that's worth. Most expensive cars, the CCXR Trevita, $4.8 million. The Lamborghini Veneno, $4.5 million. I don't know where these things are coming from. That kind of money, that you could spend that kind of money on. I don't get people spending on a house. Never mind a car. That's insane.
Yeah, I couldn't enjoy it. I mean, you'd have to be a billionaire plus to enjoy that.
Yeah, you would.
Have 50.
This thing could be one of the sexiest cars ever. I think that thing is just absolutely stunning. It was the 177 Aston Martin, 177 of them built, 750 horse, 7.3 liter V12. And it's
pretty cool car.
It's all naturally aspirated. No turbos, no superchargers, no nothing. No nitrous. So you know
You could
somebody's
drive
going to
that.
get their hands on one of those and put a blower and nitrous on it.
So what's the price tag on
Guaranteed.
that there?
Huh?
What's the price tag on that?
It was like $1 million or something like that, or 4 million. More than I can afford. More than I can afford.
But
And
like,
it was the last one that I had. The most expensive car ever sold.
the Ferrari.
1962 Ferrari 250 GTO for 48.4 million clams. That's a hell of a lot of clams.
How much horsepower does that car have there?
Probably 200, 250.
200, 300 maybe?
Maybe. I don't even think I have that much. You know,
That's crazy.
well, that
It's
was my little
changed.
piece on technology. We were just talking technology and fancy cars. I hope everybody enjoyed that.
That's awesome. Thank you, Ed.
Oh, they did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's so good.
Never gets old.
Yeah, no, I don't like any of those cars. I'd only ever rent those cars. Though.
Well, it comes down to the matter of if you had the money. I mean, the people that have these cars put hundreds of kilometers on a year. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You just have that much money. The worst part about it that I absolutely despise is any of these cars, and much less cars than those, you buy them and they're instantly worth more than what you paid. There's
Really?
such rare limited cars. Yeah, well, look at
Yeah.
that 250 GTO. You know, I couldn't
Yeah,
imagine
that
in
car.
1962 it was probably like 10 grand or something like that, which was ridiculous because you could buy a Corvette for 4 grand, right?
Yeah.
So, but now $48.4 million later, right? I remember that, and was it in,
Inflation, eh?
yeah, 85, I think, the Ferrari GTO, the 85 GTO. It was like $84,000, or it was 84, and it was $85,000, something like that. A year later, they were $1 million. All
Wow.
the F40s, the Enzos, F50s, all that stuff. Porsche 918, the Ford GTs. They're worth more than what they were worth new. But
sure.
if you find one where somebody puts an average of 18,000 kilometers a year and gets shopping cart dents and curb scrapes on them, I don't imagine that would do it, right? Because this stuff just doesn't get used.
No. They sit in the garage.
Yeah.
The one guy will drive.
In a really big garage surrounded by a lot of friends.
See, if I was that rich, I'd just have a limo. I wouldn't have to drive unless I wanted to. Like it would just be, yeah. Can you get a supercar limo?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Go to Dubai. Guaranteed they're everywhere. Yeah, I saw like a Lamborghini ambulance. Yeah. Yeah, they've got everything.
Wow. A Lamborghini ambulance.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got everything.
You think it's faster than a normal ambulance?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I think you hit a speed bump quick enough, though, it's going to break in half because it was pretty long. But
Neat to see.
Yep, absolutely.
I guess the gambler's not happening again. Speaking of,
well, I guess with COVID and stuff like that, yeah, must not.
We still have that Durango.
Yeah, no, I know. That's funny. I think I'm a little crooked here. Much better. Getting all the technology all sorted out.
So we have a couple guys lined up to interview here.
Yep, looking forward to that.
Every Tuesday, hey Bear?
Every other Tuesday, every Tuesday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll have to talk a lot to fill every Tuesday. I don't know. Whatever you want.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you guys want us to be on here more, let us know.
Yeah, we've got, so if anybody is watching this, we have a list of questions that we like to ask the guests on the show. If you've watched any of the old shows, you remember any of the questions, Dave? I remember, like, what's your favorite car brand?
A lot of car brand.
Yeah.
If we gave you all the money in the world, what would what car would you buy? We used to do that one quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. Again, it's tough asking a car guy which his favorite car is because they're going to name off 30.
Well, I don't think my answer is going to change every time you ask me what's my dream car.
Yeah.
Right. And what's the purpose of the car? You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah,
For
I have
sure.
many dream cars. Many.
What are we
dream
doing with the
cars.
car?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, mine's still my dream car's still my dream car.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got a little dented this week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, cut a corner though. Too tight, hit the dually fender.
Oh no. It's
I
far.
know.
It's pretty hard to find those fenders for those Pintos, there, aren't they?
Apparently, they're fiberglass.
Yeah. Were you
But
going
they're not.
sideways at least?
No, no. I don't even want to talk about it, Barry.
Lie, Dave. Lie. Lie.
Yes,
Were you
completely
going sideways, Dave?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
you
the
couldn't
deer-
see. You couldn't see the thing you
not
hit because
deer.
of all the smoke.
It was true.
Yeah.
It's very
okay.
true. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. Sorry, that one went really good.
It did. I'm a little slow on that stuff, right? I didn't say I'm smart about cars or stupid about cars. So
we are, absolutely.
Definitely.
2 peas in a pod, man. 2 peas in a pod.
What are you driving these days, Barry?
I'm driving the Ford that I was talking about earlier, and
Yeah.
and I've got my my Ram.
Because you were driving an Eco Diesel when we were doing the podcast 3 years ago, were we?
No, I don't think I was driving. Well, I don't know. It would have been close. When I got rid of the Ford, I think we might have still been doing the show. I can't remember. But yeah, I've got a Ram with the 3-liter Eco Diesel, and I still love that thing to bits. I'm still blessed. I have tons of warranty, but I haven't used anything. I haven't had to do anything but brakes on it. You know, and oil changes and fuel filter changes that I do more often than you're supposed to because I want it to live. But yeah. When driving I drove it with a fully loaded 16-foot trailer that was loaded quite heavy, and the box of the truck was loaded too. And I think I was, going out through BC, I was in and around 15 liters per 100 kilometers. And then in the prairies, my economy was starting to go horrible on big, flat, wide open. It must have been the headwind, man, because, I mean, it was 19, 18 liters per 100 kilometers. Yeah. But by the time I finished the trip and pulled into the driveway in Nova Scotia, it was 12.7 liters per 100 kilometers.
That's crazy, eh?
That's pretty impressive with a pickup truck fully loaded. And a 16-foot trailer fully loaded. That's pretty impressive.
My truck would not do that.
No.
It's actually it is like better on the highway fuel mileage wise.
Yeah, well, it's got all the power and torque. I mean, there is a formula that you have to the more power you have, the more fuel you're going to burn, but you need to have enough power to be able to move what you're moving down the road.
For sure.
Right? So stuff that's underpowered is really bad on fuel, and stuff that's way overpowered is really bad on fuel. If you balance your power needs out with your with the needs, then it'll be pretty good. You know me and my theory on cars, man. 36 horsepower, that's all you need. That's not what I want. Don't get me wrong. I want 1 million horsepower, but all you really need is like the old bugs and stuff like that. Need like 30 horse. It's going to be enough to get you down the highway, 100, 120 kilometers an hour. That's all you're ever doing.
100, that'd be it. I don't think you get up to 120. Maybe on a downhill with 30 horsepower.
Maybe 50 horsepower. I mean, again, balance it out. If you need a little 4-door economy car, if that's what you need, then 40, 50 horsepower is going to be enough. I really think it's going to be enough to do what you're going to need it to do. But, people talk about economy, and this is the electric car thing that, again, it drives me absolutely bananas. So an electric car is going to give you 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 million mile range. You can tell me all the stories you want about the range, but it's going to average out over the life of the vehicle, right? Yeah. So 200, 300, 400 kilometers. If you build a car that you're only ever driving around in the city because that's all you can really use an electric car for, then a 10 horsepower motor is all you really need. Like
10 now?
Well, what do you need more than that? You're not going on the highway. You're not doing big road trips. You're not hauling, towing, going places. So if there was an option of a car that was out there that was a decent car, a decent size, nicely
With 10
equipped
horsepower.
with 10, 20 horsepower, man, your fuel bill, you're going to fill the thing up. It's going to have a 2.2 liter tank. You're going to fill it once every 2 months.
I mean, essentially, that's a scooter, Bear. Like, scooters
Yeah.
have more horsepower than that, don't they?
No. Scooters have nothing. Scooters have 4 or 5 horsepower.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to
Well, some of
fact
them have
check
more
that.
horsepower. Well, there's another
think
guest
I
we'll
don't-
have to get on. We'll have to talk this over with our friend Sandy,
Yeah, he knows scooters.
king of the scooters. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you need horsepower.
Well, you need horsepower, but I mean, and of course,
Yeah,
I'm
you live in a city.
exaggerating on the low side. You know what I mean? But there's a balance. My point being is, why does a Honda Civic have 250 horsepower? It doesn't need that. You're zero use for it.
Well, that's not true. What if, like, you have to weave out of the way of somebody? No, it's never. That's not working.
Try again. Buddy. Try again.
Okay, a rock's falling off a cliff, and you need to blow past it because if you break, the other stuff's gonna hit you. That happens a lot around here. Look at the rock behind me, Barry.
Oh, it's falling.
No, but you can't limit horsepower. That's limiting life, Barry. I don't know. I mean, I guess, like, once they get to the point where cars can communicate with each other
Yeah.
and they just self-drive, they're all going to be the same horsepower. They're all going to be the same car. But that's like a train, or, like, I don't know.
True. But then the electric argument comes again. Why all these electric cars are incredibly fast? Does it not make sense? I'm not an electromagician, but if you reduce the torque output of these things,
Well, it's voltage with them, right?
well, so we know that it's torque, right? I mean, the voltage and
Yeah.
amperage and whatever that turns into the torque.
Yeah.
Right? Well, okay, so we know that the Model S has ludicrous mode, and it's the fastest accelerating car on the market, period.
Yeah.
Right? Which is cool, but not necessary. They can be that car, but otherwise. So if they reduce that output to the motors, the same batteries, would they not last longer? If you
For
put
sure.
your Tesla into ludicrous mode, the battery goes like this.
I would think so. Yeah.
So
You're-
why,
you're
when the
burning
electric
energy.
cars, why are they not out there, and why don't they have? Oh, it accelerates as fast as a Prius or a Prius, depends where you're listening, and that's
I don't
it.
know.
It doesn't accelerate fast,
I
but
raced
it
a
goes
Volt the other
forever.
day in the big block.
Huh?
I raced a Volt the other day in a big block.
Yeah,
I
but
didn't even know
he wasn't racing, Dave.
No, he was. He zoomed past me. He volted past me there.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
And then I didn't realize he was racing, and then I was catching him, but they were pulling pretty good, man.
They're huge. The torque electric, it's 100%, and it's a lot of torques. It's got
I would think too, like,
many
if you're
torques.
Saskatchewan Bear, if you're going in that headwind like that with an electric vehicle, it would probably use up more battery.
Yep, uphill. Yep, all sorts of
I mean,
things.
essentially, electric cars are not going to take off or not going to replace combustion engines until they get the infrastructure and the fast charge.
Yes. I
Because
agree.
there is no way I'm sitting there for half an hour if I'm driving in the middle of the night up somewhere to get a charge. Like,
I couldn't believe the amount of charging stations through the prairies. You're driving
know,
along
really?
for hours of nothing, and all of a sudden, charging station.
really?
Like nobody's sitting at them. Like it wasn't necessarily out front of hotels or anything like that. I'm like,
Just in the middle of a farm field with the Tesla
it's like,
station?
what the hell is this about? It doesn't. I get it. They're trying, but I don't
Yeah,
think we
and
have the
then-
technology yet. We don't have the
It's just not the
technology,
fast
and the
charge.
general
You can't
public doesn't
charge
have the
it.
full story either. Right?
Like, what's a full charge on a Tesla? Half hour on one of those fast charge things?
Well, but if you look in the manual of a Tesla, it says don't use the fast charger more than a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the key right there. Because
They got to figure out the
We leave
batteries.
at 5 at night and we drive.
Well,
10 and a half hours.
you were big into the hydrogen thing.
Yeah,
right?
still am.
You
Yeah.
know, and that I think could be a pretty good thing. There's a few safety factors and other things that they really have to kind of figure out and get under control, but
But hydrogen has the best. I mean, I guess the best bang for your buck is you can run a diesel and a gas on hydrogen, right? So those long truck drivers, because I don't think they're ever going to get a battery big enough to drive a semi across Canada. Like, do you?
they say they have them, but I don't know. I'll believe it. Well, but
I mean,
that's great.
Imagine
And
the weight of a battery big enough to go across Canada, like the weight to power ratio.
well, this is what excited me when they started saying that they're going to put them in trucks, because trucks were all about hours of service and stuff like that, right?
For
So
sure.
you can only drive really 10, 11 hours, 13 some situations, blah blah blah. Anyways, let's just call it an average of 10. Clyde is on here chatting right now, and Clyde is telling us that there's new battery tech coming down the pike, and he's looking forward to seeing how it pans out.
So am I. Thanks, Clyde.
I'm hoping. I know graphene. Graphene is one thing that they're talking about. There are new battery technologies coming that will make sense. Right now, it just doesn't.
It does.
But with the trucking, I was kind of hoping that this might help offset rates a little bit, because now trucks, you have to have an electronic logbook. So you're supposed to be hooked up to the truck. You start driving over hours, truck shuts off. I mean, it'll shut you down, right? So with electric vehicles, that you need to stop and do the charge, that maybe that would somehow affect rates and driver benefits and stuff, because now everything's going to have to run tag team, so they'll be across Canada. Say you got a 30-hour drive, there's going to be 3 trucks that will do it. One will go one way, park, the other one's going this way, back and forth, and they kind of leapfrog and hopscotch and go back and forth to make it make sense. But I was hoping that would make a change, but I don't really think they're out yet. I know places like Walmart and stuff have put in orders for the electric truck. They make a lot of sense for
school buses now. You see that in BC? They bought a bunch of electric school buses.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Longevity. Longevity is going to be a thing. And
I do believe that obviously electric motor has less parts to go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're going to have to maintain as much as a combustion engine.
For now.
We'll see. I mean, that's one thing I cannot find out, Barry, and I've asked lots of people, just what does Teslas have a warranty on them? Or people because now that Teslas have been out for over 5 years, are they seeing these things with 1 million kilometers on them with no problems? There's no really info even on the internet about them right now.
No, we'll have to do a little bit of research. Ask out the
I don't
show.
think
Anybody driving a Tesla with 1 million miles on it?
Give us a call. Let us know. Well, you think that there'd be a lot of guys with Teslas with high K because they commute, right?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. No, it's entirely possible.
You buy a Tesla because you drive it a lot and it saves you fuel. So,
yeah.
I mean, there's got to be cars up there with that many kilometers.
You'd think. Yeah, there must be. Yeah. There must be.
But I've never heard of feedback from anybody. Everybody.
And where's the value on those as well, too? Would be another question I would add. What's the value on those, the residual values?
The only thing I've seen guys service is tires, right?
Yeah.
They're even going through brake pads because they don't really use brake pads to do the braking, right? The engine does majority of the braking.
Yeah, engine brakes in big trucks now are huge. They do a lot of the braking. Yeah. Clyde saying that autonomous trucks, he's talking about, and they're pretty cool. I've seen a lot of examples, and they're on the road now driving around. Autonomous trucks can be kind of cool. And I don't know, that might be a little scary.
Hey, we're in the best kind of generation for technology and change right now. There's so much change.
Yeah.
We're on the middle of a shift.
Like he says, there's a lot coming down the pipe. There is a lot coming down the pipe.
And we get to talk about it, Barry, every second
Yay!
Tuesday. It'll be interesting. I truly believe my kids might not. They don't want a gas pot. They want electric cars. My 12-year-old, 9-year-old. That's what they want. That's what they've been taught.
Yeah, but that's that's why I'm saying where the problem is, because that's wrong.
Well, I know.
It's just, you know,
That's the media. They have a power now, right?
not only that, even the high technology in cars now, I can't really work on a lot of it myself. I'm not a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
But even you yourself, not even talking electric cars, but the more modern cars, the harder to service yourself, but they're still serviceable to some degree. I don't know how much is serviceable on a Tesla or a Volt or a Bolt or a Schmolt or a Golt. I don't even know what those are, but it sounds good.
They're efficient.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what the serviceability is going to be like. But what I do like about the electric car is the market of these other companies that are coming up, and I think how many lessons have the big three and all the big automotive manufacturers taken where they're too little, too late sort of thing. I'm surprised they haven't jumped more into this electric. So now you've got other pickup truck and other electric car companies starting out. I did a post a while back about a Canadian project, this SUV that, oh my God, is it sexy? You know,
Have you
it's
seen the
supposed
new
to be,
Bronco?
huh?
Have you seen the new Bronco?
Whatever. That's not, you know what? Again, shame on you, Ford. Shame on everybody. I mean, the only people I can't take credit from is Chrysler. Chrysler makes some really good looking vehicles. The new Bronco looks pretty cool, but go back and look at what the prototype looked like.
Yeah, I know.
That was cool. That new big Jeepster thing, the prototype, man, that was cool. Now it's just a stretched out Jeep. You know, like they get boring and they say back. Chrysler's not perfect by any means, but they do have some of the best looking cars out there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it looks kind of cool. I mean, essentially, it's just a Bronco with an Explorer chassis.
Yeah,
right?
it does look pretty cool. It does look pretty cool.
But it's
you know, they're not cheap, but
yeah.
you know,
Those Ford F-150s aren't cheap either, eh? The new hybrid.
yeah, and they're getting some awesome reviews.
Crazy reviews. Powering houses, Barry, in Texas.
Yeah, I know. They have a sensor. It's probably an option, I'm sure, but a sensor for like scales on the truck, so you know how much your trailer weighs or how much weight you put into the box of the truck.
Back. That's amazing. That kind of technology is like, I mean, especially for a truck driver, like
But they've had those in big trucks forever and ever and ever. I mean, all big trucks run on air suspension, and they have a load gauge. It simply tells how much pressure you're running, right? So it's pretty simple. But they also have electronic ones available for trucks, and they had them forever. But nobody's put one onto a pickup. You know, God bless them for doing that. You know, we got more messages flashing in here from Clyde. And he seems to say that his opinion that there's less on an electric vehicle to repair. Things will still prepare that with fewer and fewer technicians moving forward. It may be a blessing in disguise. That's entirely possible.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's entirely possible.
Especially around this area.
But then what about when the companies that are making the electric cars now, I think they're kind of being made very well. Maybe a little bit better than some of their equivalent in regular vehicles are being made simply because they're electric, whether it be a safety concern or if a company comes out and puts an electric car out there and it turns out to be a crap car, they're never going to be able to make another electric car. So I think they're probably putting a little more time and energy into making those cars, right? So what's going to happen when that goes to the wayside and they're just slapping these things together?
You're going to get Versa.
It could be a problem.
And Pontiac Sunfires.
Yeah. But let me ask you as a mechanic. Here's a good question for you. As a mechanic, is there more fault in mechanical problems on a regular vehicle being powertrain mechanical or electrical problems? Because they all still have ball joints and tie rods and steering and all of that stuff, right?
I would say it just depends on the manufacturer, Barry.
Would you? See, I would have to say, as an uneducated, stupid opinion, because this is stupid about cars, that more repairs are done on vehicles that aren't crankcases and valves and even head gaskets and transmission repairs. Most of the stuff is probably related to other components or electrical.
I'd say it's pretty. I would say it's pretty even. Maybe a little bit leaning to electrical now, but yeah, I don't. A
Well, I
lot
was
of
just
things
thinking
go
about what Clyde was
mechanically.
saying, and I thought that makes a good point. Then I thought, not often replacing engines and transmissions in cars. You do, but I'm sure you were
Yeah,
replacing an electric motor in an electric car, so
yeah, like actuators and yeah,
yeah. There's
yeah.
going to be a lot more actuators and electrical relays and switches and all sorts of stuff like that.
No, yeah, technology comes with a price too, right? Like
Yeah. And
the
you got to
more money
remember, all
that
these electric, they have radiators and cooling and all sorts of
they
stuff
do.
too. Like, you'd like to think of it, it's just an electric motor and there's nothing else to it.
But
No,
is it going to
there's
be a throwaway car? Like, is it a car that you repair when you get up to that kind of mileage, or do you crush it and send it to the junkyard? Like,
with the cost of batteries and all sorts of stuff like that. How you going to make a throwaway car like that? I mean, just fill it full of
I
Kirkland
think
Triple A's.
hydrogen hybrid. So
Yeah.
if you like, so both.
So
That would
hybrids,
be
I love. I love hybrids. I thought about a hybrid a million years ago. It wasn't a million years ago, but I was young. my concept, excuse me, on a hybrid car, I wanted something like a big beast Cadillac with a giant 532 cubic inch engine in the front with a massive supercharger sticking up out of the hood, just making gobs of horsepower and throw a ton of nitrous into it too. And then in the back, have a little 3-cylinder in the back. So I get onto the highway and I get going highway speeds instantly. And once
and
I'm
kick
just
her over.
cruising, I shut that engine down. I turn on the little 3-cylinder in the back and cruise down the road at 120 kilometers an hour. And for those of you down in the United States of America, that would be approximately 68.4 miles per hour. Somewhere about there. Like, that was my idea of a hybrid. So the
You're
hybrids
going to be able
now,
to do that pretty soon. Like now, they are essentially building little motors that go actually on your wheel. Like
Yeah.
it attacks to the, so you just have motors at all corners of the vehicle, all four corners.
yeah,
There's no engine down the middle. It's all going to be batteries. That's really cool, man.
yeah.
'Cause, like, you
No,
could
it's
easily
pretty
do
cool, but
that.
I just still think the hybrid, like, so you've got a hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what engine is in it?
The 2.5.
Okay. Why? Why isn't it a 0.5 liter V5? Like,
I don't know,
why has it got to be
doesn't have
such a
enough
big
power?
motor? That's my beef with it. Like, put a tiny motor in the thing. Put a little tiny. Like,
It's,
to
it's,
me,
I mean, it's an assist, right? Like
rotary.
the electric motor will work around town, but if you're going up a huge hill, it doesn't have enough power. And if yeah, so
Doesn't
you
it?
need
Though,
that,
if you're driving a Sea to Sky or whatever, it
yeah.
won't. You can't go up a hill on electric. See,
No, well,
electric
not
is
at
all
any,
torque.
and not any speed. A hybrid's not meant for commuting. It's meant for like town kind of travel. It gets its best fuel mileage, stop and go, right? Because it
Yeah.
recharges as it stops.
Yeah.
On the highway, it gets all right. It gets definitely better than a straight gas pop, but it's
Right.
not. It still needs that gas motor to give it the power up the hill. Because
So
it
maybe
just
they're
doesn't have that battery
underpowering.
capacity.
So maybe then they are underpowering the batteries and overpowering the motor. So maybe they should go backwards and overpower the batteries but underpower the motor. I think
Yeah, you need more
that
batteries. Batteries cost money.
true that. But I think, why can't you just have
we're
a
going for
battery, an electric vehicle with an onboard microcharger?
yeah.
Something that you fill it up and it'll run. It just sits there and runs, and the batteries get low and starts charging up. I mean, it's
Yeah.
all this, perpetual motion and all of this stuff that it's
The new
beyond
Toyota
my
RAV
brain.
is what we're getting in 2 years is a full-on plug-in hybrid.
Right.
So it's a plug-inable hybrid. Like to me, that's the best for right now and where we are in the world with infrastructure for electric. That's the best bang for your buck.
As long as the rules don't change.
And what as you mean, like
I think
rules?
the rules have to change. Electric vehicles or anything using electric and saving that fuel money and stuff like that are not contributing to the roads. And that is a no-no in my books. You want to have the governments and stuff say, oh, by 2020, we're going to have no more gas-powered cars, everything electric. And Okay, great. Well, who's paying for the roads? Because hydro doesn't contribute to road taxes.
And I'm sure there will be some bill that'll be passed to put that onto it, right?
Well,
And
then
hydro
how
will go
much
up
is
to
that
the-
going to be? That that could be pretty insane.
Yeah.
That could really change the difference. Now your plug-in, it's going to cost you just as much at the plug in your house as it is at the gas station for fuel.
Yeah,
That's going to, because the cost of fuel is actually pretty cheap, right?
for sure.
So we've got a story coming in from Mel McDonald. And she says,
Yeah.
my story is different. Being female, I was expecting to be ripped off. Normally my partner or dad, normally my partner dad, wait, what? Okay. My reading literacy skills are not the best. Normally my partner or dad took care of the vehicular things for me. My car needed immediate attention and I was dreading getting it taken care of myself. But damn it, I had to. I was expecting not to get in for days, to be overcharged, and of course the old upsells pitch. But I wasn't. I was taken right in, made comfortable, repairs were made, and she was on the road back to work within an hour.
Awesome.
On my way to work, I was so overwhelmed by my awesome experience. I was so pleased about getting exactly what I paid for and more. Service was exceptional. Why was I so amazed? When I got to the office, I sent an email to the repair center head office, my district sales manager sharing my experience and gratitude. I needed the service team to be recognized and acknowledged. And that, more people should do that.
100%.
More people write letters to bitch than they do about anything.
That's
A
the
little
only
bit of
time.
gratitude goes a real long way
For sure.
in life in general.
And now, next time she has something go wrong with her vehicle, she feels it's not going to be this big, overwhelming experience, right?
Great
She
place
knows
to
she's-
take it, and no, absolutely.
She's got
Well,
trust in her mechanic.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Actually, I'd rather hear stories like that. I mean, we
I'm sure
started
like
this whole thing
90%
to.
of the stories or 80% of the stories are going to be like that, right? Like, I don't think shops typically rip people off on purpose.
There's some that probably
It's-
do, right? But
Yeah. Well,
Clyde
thank you
was
for sharing
also
that.
online there saying a lot of engine and transmission failures stem from their complexity paired up with poor maintenance practices.
Can't argue
Absolutely.
that.
No,
Nailed it.
absolutely. You don't change your oil. You don't realize all the little tiny passages inside of your engine and stuff like that get gummed up, and now they can't get oil. And bad maintenance is a.
Well, and then the manufacturers don't help with the maintenance either. Like they tell you now, like on some cars, 16,000. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, they don't put those guidelines. Everybody drives different. Everybody drives in a different climate. You do your oil changes on the way you drive.
Yes.
Simply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Maintenance is do the maintenance, and do more than you should, more than the manufacturers. Even if you're buying a car and you're leasing it, I'm going to drive it for 80,000 kilometers or 60,000 kilometers, and I've got warranty for all of that, and that's all I need to worry about. That's great. Somebody else is going to have that car afterwards. You know what I mean? So keep up. And remember, too, if you're not doing your maintenance at least regularly, you can be denied warranty service. Right?
100%. But if
that happens.
Yeah. I mean, most people do right at that limit, right?
Oh, it tells me
But
my
yeah.
light came on and said change the oil. Then I go and get the oil changed. Yeah.
But if you're towing a fifth wheel with a truck, you're gonna want to do your oil more than what they recommend.
Yeah. No,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
No, my truck, before I drove cross country, I took it in. I had everything serviced, full oil change, fuel filter change, and I was actually debating halfway of stopping and getting it done again. But we were having a good time, and we got slow and lazy, and I had 2.5 days of driving to do in a day, so I didn't. But we still got it done. So.
And I'm sure, what was it? How long was it? 5,000, just over 5,000 K?
Yeah, between 5,000 and 6,000 K. Yeah, all said and done.
So you get, 8,000 is, what you do.
Oh yeah,
So you still
it's
get-
fine. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, no, it doesn't work too hard or anything like that.
Hey, did Melanie say what shop she took her car to? Did you see any?
No, she just said she needed the service team to be recognized and acknowledged. Thank you, guys. When you have bad service, everyone knows. You know what? And I'm all
You should
about
give a
that.
shout out to that shop though. That's
I was just gonna say, what shop was it? Let's give a shout out for the shop because why not? Somebody in the area might be listening and need a good shop to
know.
go to. We're happy to give a show to. Hey, and I got news for you. You get ripped off by somebody, and we dig into it because we will do that for you. That was part of our original plan with the show. Was finding out,
Liaisons.
did you get screwed?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think
We even had a
probably
commercial
half or
going.
more times people get screwed, they really didn't get screwed. You know what I mean? They just thought they get screwed. So we'd like to dig into that too, and we'll call the shop.
Well,
We talked
remember,
about
our
doing that.
website actually estimated the cost of the repair for you.
Yep.
Remember that? Even we did, yeah.
Yep. Oh, it was OK Tire. OK Tire in Windsor,
way to
Nova
go, OK
Scotia.
Tire in Windsor.
No,
That's
Windsor.
awesome.
OK Tire. I've been into a few OK Tires and never had a problem with them at all.
OK
they
Tire
seem
in
to be good.
Squamish is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great brand. Yeah.
Yep. No, it's a good brand. Are they like? I know I don't want to mention their competition immediately after mentioning OK Tire, but like out there, Cal Tire. I know Cal
Yeah.
Tire are all corporately owned. Is OK
Yeah.
the same way?
No, it's a franchise.
Franchise. OK is a franchise. See, and most of the time I find that will probably serve a individual franchises better, right? Because I've been to a few Cal Tires.
My experience, it serves the customer better being at a franchisee because they own the shop. They're vested interest in that shop.
Yeah, vested interest. That's exactly right.
I mean,
Those
I'm
are
not
big
going to say
words.
that a corporate-run shop is not going to be good, but they have managers, and they don't typically have as much passion for it as an
Absolutely.
owner operator.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely.
But there's an exception to all cases, right?
Yep. No, absolutely. And speaking of Windsor, Nova Scotia, Nova Scotia have a few different things. Every 2 years, you have to get a safety on your vehicle.
Really?
Yep. Every 2 years.
All the
Every
rust
2
out there,
years.
or what?
I mean, I love it. I think it's fantastic.
And then is it like new vehicles? Like, is there like a 2-year-old vehicle has to get an inspection, or
Yeah,
like
well,
anyone-
I mean, a new vehicle would not need it because it would, obviously pass. So
But
I'm
a
assuming
new-
a brand new vehicle doesn't, but any used vehicle, every 2 years.
Yeah.
So a
I
new
think that-
vehicle will come with a sticker. So we've got stickers on the windshield,
yeah.
right? So a brand new vehicle, you'll get a sticker on the windshield, and that lasts for 2 years.
You just got called something.
Yeah, meant to say my partner and or my dad usually take care of her. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, we can share. I have been sharing messages. It was Windsor Tire, OK Tire, Windsor, Nova Scotia, and I can't believe she called you an arsehole, Dave.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't talking to me, Bear. Might have been.
Oh, she calls it to my face. Don't worry. Great
It's
neighbors.
really neat having this feedback from, and thank you for the viewers that are watching. It's really cool having you be able to chat in there with us.
When we did the other show, we recorded it. So there was no way for us to have interaction besides an email or a chat with somebody. And we were really looking for this to be able to interact with people. Tell us the shops that you love and the shops that you hate and whatnot. And we could talk about it, dig into your problems and help solve issues and stuff like that. That would be fantastic. I know you would
Yeah, if you have
love
any
that,
car
Dave.
problems or nightmare stories, email us.
Yep. Dave's really good at understanding what bang, boom, bop, squeeze means. Because that's a sound a car makes, apparently, but I don't know.
That's how that's how he explains his noises. So I've gotten good at it.
My car goes.
Your Ford went kaput, pretty much, didn't it?
Hey man, that truck has been seen riding around up in Terrace and all sorts of other places. It's still kicking.
Mystery Ford F-150.
Yeah. I think just take a look in and keep on ticking, I guess. I don't
Just
know.
every day I got a little lighter, a bit of rust just knocked off it. And
There wasn't that much rust on that thing.
no,
Underneath.
that
It wasn't bad. Yeah,
You're not wrong.
every time you crawled underneath that thing to work on it, you were always amazed at how easily everything came apart and how simple it was to work on it.
Would you have it sprayed?
Because
down
I
with
never had you do the spark plugs.
again? No, I don't want to do those things. What was it though? What do you have it sprayed down with again?
Crown.
When you first got
Crown.
I mean, that stuff worked.
There you go, Clyde. Live is the best way to make content. Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that stuff worked. I mean, I don't know mechanics, but I undid a vehicle that lived in Ontario, drove to Whistler, and I undid the U-bolts with my air gun. No problem. Never been touched.
Huh.
10 years old.
Yeah.
The disc cover rusted out,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
U-bolts were one.
Yeah.
It's wherever they didn't hit with that stuff. Like the bumpers rusted, but everything else was good. I
Yeah.
think I even did control arms that came out okay in yours too. Lower
Yeah.
and upper control
No,
arms.
they were. You know what? When I was in the car business, you know what? You go to a wrecking yard, right? And when you go to a wrecking yard and you walk by and look at all the cars, the ones without rust, at least in places like Ontario and stuff where they use salt on the road,
Yeah.
you know, the ones that aren't rusted out all have a Crown sticker on it. That was my only reason for going to Crown. You know, now you're supposed to go like every year or two or whatever and have it resprayed and stuff. I don't really think you need to. Maybe say 5 years, every 5 years have it done. You
I
know,
don't think anybody does it
and
in
Crown,
Province
if you'd
anymore.
like to call and sponsor the show, it will be every year.
Give us a
You
call.
should do it weekly, actually hourly. You should go hourly and have no. I think every 5 years is going to be good enough, and that truck was proof of it because it really wasn't rusty bad. I mean, it was a piece of crap at times, but it
Yeah, it was well used, that truck.
you know, oh yeah, it was well used and abused, right? But no, it wasn't a bad thing. Mel is reminding us that it used to be here an annual safety check. It was once a year you had to get the safety done, and I kind of chuckle because she says my concern with moving to every 2 years is safety. There's some real crap traveling on the roads. Yes, but in other places they don't do that at all. The only time you need a safety is when you buy or sell a vehicle. And I know I have seen, and
You
I
don't
know
even need a
Dave.
safety when you do a buy and sell of that either, Bear. It's up to the customer if they want to do a safety on it.
Well, but you've got it in
And
order to
private
plate
play.
it, you know. Yeah, but
Yeah.
if you want to go and plate it or whatever, you need a safety, right? You know,
No.
well, in Ontario you do, right? In BC, you
Yeah.
don't need to get a safety to plate it.
No,
I
you
thought-
just buy a car and you go get insurance on it. There's no kind
Yeah,
of like
see,
inspection.
and that's a problem. So my point to
That's
Mel
why all
is
the
that.
cars come out from Ontario to BC apparently.
Yeah. Well, I think I had to get my truck inspected when I brought it out.
You have to if you're going to insure it here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like the first time it gets here, you have to. If it's not a BC plated
Right.
car, it
But
has
only
to
once
go-
ever. You know what I
only
mean?
once ever,
Yeah,
not even
that's-
not a year. Yeah,
No. Yeah.
I mean big trucks do, like commercial trucks have to.
Yearly. Yeah. No.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I know in England they did like I think it was anything that was 10 years old or 10 years old every year had to be inspected. Like if you had a grace period if it's newer the vehicle, which makes
That
sense,
works.
right?
That works.
But in
I
it,
mean,
they also
what's
put
the
right there
difference?
on it,
2
too.
years? I think 2 years is good. I think 1 year is a little much. I mean, cost wise and stuff like that, maybe for people.
And it would keep
But
the mechanic shops busy.
yeah, no, absolutely.
And it would definitely get rid of a lot of junk on the road.
Oh man, I've seen. Remember with my buddy Luca at a shop, we had an Aerostar. I think it was an Aerostar came in for like an oil
Isn't that a
change.
band there?
Yeah. He came in for an oil change, and I remember like picking at the drain plug to try and get the oil to come out in clumps. Right. Okay. And then part of his package was we'll do a brake inspection. And I can remember him taking off the wheel off of the truck and a piece falling to the ground that seemed to be a backing plate that was actually part of the disc. The disc was not a full circle anymore. It almost looked like one of those nuclear radiation things with big, like more than half of the thing was missing. And that was probably the best wheel, you know? Like it was really, really, really bad.
You were there to get their AC fixed, right?
You know, just for an oil change, you know?
I know.
And there's not a thing you can do. I mean, Luke told the guy, you know, hey man, I can't let you drive away with this. Well, yeah, put the wheels back on. I didn't want you to take the wheels off and blah, 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 blah. You know, and there's nothing you can do. And the guy actually drove away with the thing. Now, of course, we might have ended up having a DOT guy show up at his house to randomly inspect the vehicle because they can do that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the thing was taken off the road pronto, but
It's amazing what people will drive.
yeah. So I think the inspection's damn good idea. Damn good idea.
We kill a lot of the camper life here in BC.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Some old tired stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People living in it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
Excellent.
I think
Anything
it's-
else you can think of there, buddy?
No, I think we've had a great first podcast back going.
Yeah, chatted a little
Knocked
bit.
out
Had
some
a
run.
few participants in the conversation. That's gonna work out fun once we start getting more and more watchers and
Oh, for
stuff
sure.
like that and listeners. And note to people, stupidaboutcars.com is a website that you can go to, and you can find out a little bit more about the show when we get there. There's not a lot there right now. Currently working on the site slowly but surely. There's some hats and cool stuff like that there. If you're so interested, then
Please do.
yeah, please do have a look. I've just changed everything over. So everything's free shipping now. So
Nice.
yeah, I just got this all sorted out, and that's why neither of us are wearing Stupid About Cars stuff. But hopefully the
We will be.
next show or two we will be, because Stupid About Cars. Anything else, Davey?
No, I just want to thank all the people that listened and commented, and
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
looking forward to what we can bring to the people listening there.
Yeah, we'll improve the show, and as we go, and get back into the swing of things and stuff like that, and make it fun and enjoyable for everyone.
Educate some people on cars.
Absolutely. Right on. I
All
forgot.
right, guys, thanks for listening.
I don't think I put in my. We used to have that music to play us out,
The
and
send off.
I didn't do our send off. I did an intro and all sorts of things, but I didn't do the send off. I guess I could go back to the intro before we end, but that's about it, folks. So, Davey, we'll talk soon.
All right, buddy.
Everybody else
Thank
out
you.
there in La La Land, have a good night. It's getting late here, so I'm off to bed. Back to work in the morning. Yay, work!
Have a good sleep, Bear.
You bet, buddy. Take it easy. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.